Well, here we are again with another custom. You guys know that I love my custom knives. I don't know. It's not that I have a problem per se with production knives. I don't know. I really, really like customs. I've had this R.J. Martin Q36SS now for about 2 weeks, give or take. I got this as a partial trade plus cash deal, a little bit of cash on my side to Mason, who I got this from. He actually won a lotto on this knife at Blade Show. So this is brand new. If you saw the unboxing, you'll know some of that information already. But for those of you that didn't, well, now you know. This is a beautiful knife. I have done a video on a Q36 previously that I got from my buddy Chris out in Texas, who ended up with 4 of these now. It's an addiction, guys. It really is. I started with one production series Hellraiser. Ended up with, I don't know, at one point, 8 or 10 different Hellraisers in different configurations, from the production ones to the custom ones that you saw here. So, yes, it can escalate and multiply quickly. But let's talk about this one. I love red and black. Those are kind of like my colors. It's like my corporate colors, if you will, if I had a corporation. Red and black fat carbon fiber. Titanium scale. And I believe it's a titanium pocket clip. RJ did do some of these in zirconium, but I believe this one is a titanium clip with titanium hardware and MagnaCut. This is my first MagnaCut knife, and it's really hard to see the engraving there, but there's MagnaCut there on that side and R.J. Martin here on the front side. And that's it as far as blade marking goes. So I love that. Very cool. It's also got the fat carbon backspacer, which is a little bit unique for me. It's not flush with the scales, right? You can kind of see there's a little lip here. It is set back in just slightly, 1/8 of an inch, maybe something like that. It's just slightly set in, if the camera would focus. But that doesn't bother me. It's just something that's, I don't know, a little different to me. If it was Dirk's World, I would have just made that kind of flush. But that's okay. It works. It gives it a little bit more depth and little detail. I think these are fantastic. I kind of wanted one when I did the first video I got from Chris a while back. That was maybe a year or 2 ago. I'll link it up here in the corner after this video. This has a pretty strong detent, I would call it, and it takes a little bit. In the unboxing, I misfired it like 3 or 4 times because my finger just slipped off. With new knives, oftentimes, lock bar pressure is always going to affect the opening of a knife. But this one I have found it's best for me to turn it a little sideways and to use kind of the side of my finger rather than straight on, if that makes sense. And then it goes just fine, no problem. I think it was also fairly brand new when I got it. So it was pretty tight and had to kind of loosen up a little bit. See, I misfired it there. So with something with a more standard detent, I guess, I can just quickly and easily from the front side, like just with the tip of my finger. And this one might have a little bit of a light detent. If we get with the Sharknivka Ryu, again, the same thing. I just go from the front. But the RJ Martin, I can't go from the front. I've got to go from the side. I mean, I can, but that becomes painful. I really need to make sure I have zero pressure on the lock bar, and then I can do it. So I just grab it, a little bit sideways, off it goes. Almost, I mean, you can get more mirror polished than this, but not by much. I mean, it's kind of getting up there. There it is next to one of the custom Hellraisers. So, yeah, I mean, while I love this knife, I kind of wish the blade was not as polished. If it was more of a stonewash finish or dark wash or something, that would be more preferable to me. But I'm not going to get rid of this knife because of that. If that makes sense. All right, let's talk about some specs real quick. 4 7/8 closed, 8 13/16 overall. It's not a small little guy. 3.95-inch blade length, 3.8-inch edge, 0.019 behind the edge. The blade thickness is 0.134. Overall thickness is 0.458. Weighs in at 4.2 ounces. It is Magna Cut, as I mentioned, and it runs on bearings. It feels really good in the hand. You can sort of choke up here. It's not really a finger choil, but the blade is kind of, it starts to widen out there, kind of in that plunge line. It's not super sharp right here at the tip. It gets sharp a little bit farther up. This flipper tab is fairly contoured. Now, that comes into play a lot with Jim Skelton. So on his finger choil here on the mini Hellraiser is absolutely chamfered there and crowned or smoothed out for that finger choil. And most people do not do that. The way the flipper tab is kind of designed, this is very comfortable. Not a hard edge there at all. So you could do some cutting in this way or hold it in a more traditional manner. It is very fingerprint magnety. So as I just touch the blade there, yeah. So again, for me personally, I'm not the big shiny bladed guy, but that's okay. This is so awesome. It's okay. Has that slight recurve belly. Now this thing in the pocket is absolutely fantastic. The pocket clip works great. Just enough retention. Slides in and out, no problem at all. The milling on here is fantastic as well. And he even has milled inside of the lock bar release, which a lot of people do not do. Okay. Typically that's going to just be plain. So I like the fact that he went in there and machined that, because that's an extra level of machining. That's going to take more time, set up the machine again. Like there's some effort involved in that that's not necessarily needed, but is appreciated. This is very thin, so it does fit in the pocket very nice and carries great. I will be honest. Since I've gotten this in the last about 2 weeks, and I don't really keep track of what knives I carry. I have carried this a lot. I have carried this a lot, and I have carried this guy a lot. These are probably the 3 knives that I have carried in the last 2-ish weeks. And I'm not going to say these are my favorite knives or anything like that, or that these are lifelong keepers, none of that jazz, but these are the 3 in the last couple of weeks that I've gravitated to the most. I don't know. I mean, I think I carried the Sharknivka Ryu once in that time, but are the other ones getting jealous? I don't know. Does it matter? Not really. All right, so here it is next to the VC Edge interface that comes in at 1.5 ounces, 4.2. So they're both lightweight, small, thin profile, easy to carry. And here is the Red Horse Knife Works Hellraiser that is heavier, thicker, equally cool. And I don't have the weight off the top of my head there. But to give you a perspective, it's thicker. The blade thickness is similar, just different for sure. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear if you are familiar with them. And if you've carried one or handled one, what you think. I did a comparison of the RJ Martin versus the Grimsmo Norseman, which I'm sure RJ wasn't maybe happy about. But when I first got the RJ from my other buddy, I thought it kind of resembled that. So I did a video. Hey, what are you going to do, right? So please go check out the comparison video here and my other video review here from a year-ish ago. And have a great day.